Hi friends, it's Lisa Hetrick. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. I have a whimsical poinsettia project I want to share with you today, and a little bit of a twist here. I have a little fun find that I want to share before we get into the sketchbook and start talking a little bit about the watercolor project, the watercolor paint along today. I am going to be using my Be Creative 100% cotton watercolor sketchbook. I love this watercolor sketchbook, and if you've been following along, you've seen me use it over and over and over again. But I do love it, and I will have all the links in the show notes below. So I'm going to do a quick flip through here. We're going to get to a blank piece of paper. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about this box. Okay, so I was cruising the art supply aisle at Target. Why? Well, why not? And I found these. These are called handmade modern watercolor paints. And I wasn't so intrigued by the paints themselves, although they are lovely, by the way. They're a great starter set if you're interested. And they're also, a great for your family, great for the kids. It's a great set, but I was really intrigued by the packaging, and I was really intrigued by the box, because it wasn't just a box that was like a balsam box where it's easy to dent it or rip it or break it. This is a really, really nice box, and it's super solid. So I had been looking for a solution for my Daniel Smith pans. I had a lot of loose Daniel Smith pans that were in the really small pellets. So I really wanted a solution that would help me get them all into one place. So when I found this box, I thought it might work, because a lot of watercolors in a lot of different brands are sometimes packaged in really nice wooden boxes. So I bought it, and I thought I'd give it a go. I took the paints out and I put them in an older palette that I had, and I started to put my Daniel Smith pans in this one. And I had this cute little just a heart-shaped porcelain plate that I know I purchased in like that little dollar spot at Target, that fits really nicely in the top of the lid here. And then I took a piece of white Yupo, which is like a plastic paper, and I put it at the top, and that's sort of like my mixing space for right now. And I've got these Primatex here that I really just wanted a home for. So I just decided that I was going to put something together, and I'm really digging it. So here are the colors that I ended up putting in this new box, and I just love it. Okay, so I'm moving on. I've got a couple new brushes that I'm trying out as well from Princeton. They're called Princeton Aqua Elites. I'm really loving them, but they're a synthetic brush that hold a lot of water. So I've been giving them a go for several months now. Now here are my silver black velvet brushes that I absolutely love. So I wasn't really sure about the Princetons, but I'm really digging this brush. I'm really liking it a lot. So I'm just going to dive in and just start painting some watercolor poinsettias. I'm going to turn some music on and just have some fun in the sketchbook, and I'll pop back in and talk a little bit about, what I'm doing. But I really just wanted to offer up this little paint along to you today, just to have some fun. I'm using my Daniel Smith watercolors. I'm using just the brush. I'm not doing any pre-drawing anything in the watercolor sketchbook. I'm just warming up, and I often will do that in this sketchbook before I start a big project, or if I want to experiment with some colors. And because I had just put these Daniel Smith colors in this brand new box, I wanted to kind of just play in my sketchbook with them. And I'm really digging the box because it fits in the camera frame really, really well. And in future tutorials, when I'm using it, I'll really be able to explain better because you can see the colors better. You can kind of see me mixing them up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn some music on, and you'll see me turning the box around and the sketchbook around and doing lots of different things as I start to paint more blooms here in these really whimsical and graphic poinsettias. So let's turn the music on, enjoy this little holiday watercolor painting, and I'll pop back in soon. Okay, so I'm popping back in and you can see that I'm just adding I'm doing some glazing here. I've been kind of going back and forth between the quinacridone magentas and the coral and the permanent alizarin crimson from Daniel Smith. And I'm just adding different layers on top of these little petals. And this, some of the parts of the poinsettias started to feel a little bit like a hot mess, but that's all kind of part of using your sketchbook to warm up. And really, when I'm doing this, I'm just kind of playing around and getting my hand warmed up, and also just playing around with different color combinations. And because I'm really playing around with this Princeton Aqua Elite brush, I really just kind of wanted to get a feel for this synthetic brush. It has quite a bit of snapback where so it's kind of stiff. And it's really good for mixing the colors. You've seen me mix a lot of different colors along the way here, and I'm just kind of intuitively mixing. I'm dropping uh, different colors together, and I'm just kind of playing around and just seeing what I can create and adding it into the painting. So I just kind of noodling around and getting different kinds of techniques, playing around with my techniques. So um, I'm really just kind of enjoying these whimsical little poinsettias. They're kind of a little bit wonky. Sometimes my art gets a little wonky, but that's okay. So I just kept playing and just blending it out a little bit with some water. Some of the poinsettia leaves are pretty washed out. But that's okay. I'm just kind of going in and playing around. And this was my kind of first big painting with the new paint box. And I'm just loving this new setup of my Daniel Smith pan sets. And I just love this little box. I never thought I would love it so much, but I do. So okay, so I wanted to show you my bowl. What I will probably do with these images that I've painted is I will probably hand cut them out and create some paper art with them. So here's what I do with these kinds of poinsettias. I just kind of hand cut them, and then I turn them into embellishments for some of my other artworks. So super, super fun. And I'm just kind of enjoying the whole process of just playing around with colors. I'm going to just add a little bit of yellow splatter in here just to kind of finish off the whole page. Usually when I add splatter at the last it usually means that I'm finished with this painting. I'm finished with this little sketch and I kind of want to move on. So I'm kind of digging it. It's whimsical. It's definitely super wonky, but I got a chance to play around with these new brushes, this new paint box, and some of my Daniel Smith colors. So I'm super excited about that. So it's super fun to just get your paints out and play around and just kind of configure them the way you like it and the way you enjoy it. So I'm really digging this new box. I can wipe out the paint that I'm using here on the Yupo paper. Let me know in the comments if setting up your watercolor palette, these portable palettes, is something that you might be interested in, and I'll talk a little bit more about them in future watercolor tutorials. So here's the sketchbook page. It's finally dry, and I'm really just kind of loving the play and the pink and the purpley colors that I played with today. So I'm just getting a little bit whimsical and throwing down some of my hand-cut floral poinsettia pieces that I've been working on, and I just love it. It's just so much fun to just cut those little flowers out and use them as embellishments. Just adorable and fun for the holidays. You can use them to create any kind of holiday fun project that you can think of. So here's a final look at the paint box, and I'm just loving it, loving it, loving it. If you have any questions at all about this little paint box I set up, just go ahead and put them in the comments and I will answer them. I hope you enjoyed today's watercolor walkthrough in my sketchbook. It was super, super fun. Thanks so much for joining me. Please consider sharing the joy by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.